It is 2 in the morning in a quiet neighborhood on the edge of Tokyo. The rest of the world is asleep, but inside a small, dimly lit apartment, Kenji sits at his desk. The room is heavy with quiet tension. Glowing in the dark is the harsh blue light of a laptop screen, displaying an empty bank account, unpaid credit card statements, and subscriptions he can barely remember signing up for. Kenji works 60 hours a week as a salaryman. He earns a solid income, yet every month his money vanishes like water poured into dry sand. He buys convenience meals because he is too exhausted to cook. He buys gadgets he doesn't need to reward himself for surviving another brutal week. He pays for convenience, speed, and temporary comfort. But the more he spends, the trapped he feels. He looks at his hands, trembling slightly from caffeine and chronic stress. He is living on a treadmill that never stops, working to pay for a life he isn't even enjoying. That night, Kenji did something unusual. He didn't order another self-help book online. He didn't download a budget app that would sit unused on his phone. Instead, he visited his grandfather's old house in Kyoto over the weekend. While helping clean out the study, Kenji found a simple, cloth-bound notebook sitting in the drawer of a dark wooden desk. On its cover, written in brushed black ink, was a single word: Kakeibo. His grandfather had used this simple physical journal for 40 years. He lived modestly, yet he never lacked security, peace of mind, or presence. In that moment, staring at the clean, hand-drawn lines of the ledger, Kenji realized that his financial chaos was not a math problem. It was a mind problem. Here is how a 120-year-old Japanese method transformed Kenji's life, and how it can do the same for yours. Chapter 1. The Art of Physical Presence. The word Kakeibo translates directly to household financial ledger. Invented in 1904 by Hani Motoko, Japan's first female journalist, it was designed to give individuals complete authority over their financial lives. When Kenji returned to Tokyo, he didn't open a spreadsheet. He bought a small, high-quality notebook and a black ink pen. Modern technology makes spending invisible. A single tap of a card or click of a button detached Kenji from the reality of his labor. Money had become abstract, and because it was abstract, it dissolved easily. Every evening, Kenji sat down at his desk, away from his phone, and physically wrote down every single yen he had spent that day. The simple physical act of putting pen to paper forced a micro-pause. Writing 450 yen, iced coffee took 5 seconds. But in those 5 seconds, the purchase became real. He felt the weight of it. By grounding his finances in physical touch, the invisible leak in his life suddenly became visible. Chapter 2. The 4 Pillars of Awareness. In the second week, Kenji implemented the core structure of Kakeibo. Instead of overwhelming categories, Kakeibo forces you to divide every single expense into 4 fundamental pillars. First, survival. The non-negotiable costs required to live: rent, utilities, basic groceries, and essential medicine. Second, wants. Things you enjoy but do not strictly need to survive. A meal out with friends, a new shirt, or a streaming service. Third, culture. Expenses that enrich your mind and spirit: books, museum tickets, theater, or courses. Fourth, unexpected. Emergency repairs, medical bills, or sudden trips. For the first time, Kenji saw his life clearly. He realized that 70% of his income was disappearing into the wants category, masked as survival. He was treating stress relief purchases as if they were as vital as breathing. By categorizing every expense with a pen, he stopped lying to himself. He began to see that true luxury is not convenience, it is clarity. Chapter 3. The 4 Philosophical Questions. Kakeibo is not merely a tracking system. It is an ongoing conversation with oneself. Every morning before planning his day and every Sunday evening before closing his book, Kenji answered 4 simple questions written at the top of his ledger. Question 1, how much money do you have available? Question 2, how much would you like to save? Question 3, how much are you actually spending? Question 4, how can you improve? These questions transformed Kenji's relationship with his desire. Before buying anything non-essential, he delayed the purchase by 24 hours and asked himself a deeper set of questions. Can I live without this? Based on my current ledger, can I afford it? Will I actually use it? How do I feel right now? Am I buying this because I need it, or because I am tired, lonely, or bored? Money, Kenji realized, is stored life force. When you spend money, you are spending hours of your finite life that you traded to earn it. When he looked at a new pair of shoes, he no longer saw a price tag. He saw 12 hours of sitting under fluorescent lights in an office. Suddenly, the shoes lost their magic. Chapter 4. The Practice of Danshari and Kaizen. Within 3 months, the practice of Kakeibo naturally triggered 2 deeper Japanese philosophies in Kenji's life: Danshari, the art of decluttering, and Kaizen, the commitment to small, continuous improvement. As his financial ledger became leaner, Kenji looked around his apartment. The physical clutter reflected his past financial chaos. He began selling and donating items he didn't need, simplifying his environment until his room felt like a quiet temple rather than a storage unit. He didn't make drastic, unsustainable cuts to his budget. Instead, he applied Kaizen. He reduced his eating out expenses by just 10% the first month. He replaced his daily commercial coffee with a quiet morning ritual of brewing his own green tea at home. Small, daily adjustments compounded over time. By the 6-month mark, Kenji was saving 35% of his monthly income without feeling deprived. In fact, he felt richer than he ever had when he was spending freely. Chapter 5. Absolute Freedom. 1 year after finding his grandfather's ledger, Kenji sits at the same desk in his Tokyo apartment. The room is dark, save for a single warm desk lamp. Rain taps gently against the window pane, but the heavy, suffocating anxiety that once filled this room is entirely gone. On his desk lies his Kakeibo notebook, filled with neat rows of black ink. His debt is completely paid off. He has built a 6-month emergency fund, but more importantly, he has reclaimed his mind. He no longer buys things to impress people he doesn't like or to escape a life he doesn't want. He uses his money intentionally, aligned with his true values. His pen and paper became a mirror, reflecting his habits until he had the wisdom to change them. The ultimate goal of Kakeibo is not to accumulate wealth for the sake of hoarding it. It is to cultivate mindfulness, self-discipline, and peace in an overcrowded world designed to keep you distracted and consuming. Look at your own life today. Where is your life force draining away unnoticed? Perhaps it is time to close the banking apps, turn off the screen, pick up a simple piece of paper, and begin your own conversation.